In this video, we're just going to cover some backlight settings and screen settings for your Garmin Montana 700, 700i, 750i to get the best out of the battery. And just to look at a feature that a lot of customers may not realize is there, as default when you get your Montana 700 series device, the power button, which is the left-hand button on the side of the unit, should be pre-programmed to do a double tap to turn your screen off, but leave the unit on in the background so it's still recording an activity, but it's really going to help save battery. And also by using that feature with the double tap of the power button, it's locking your screen as well, so it won't accidentally come on if you touch the screen, say you've got it carried in a carry pouch. So normally as default, when the units are sent out, if I go to the house symbol at the bottom left of the screen to go into the main menu, now when I go into setup, any settings I change are only for whatever profile I'm currently on. So bear in mind, I'm on the hike profile at the minute, so if I want display settings changed for a different profile, you have to go back and repeat the process for the different activity profiles you are using. So I'm on the hike profile, so I'm going to go into setup and display. So normally as default, you'll find the unit set at backlight timeout 30 seconds. So what happens after 30 seconds, the screen will go dimmer. Now, one thing to also look at is how bright your backlight is when it's on full brightness. On a lovely sunny day when the sun's actually shining on the screen, you don't have to have full brightness on, so you can adjust your backlight setting as well. So I can either swipe down from the top of the screen or simply tap the power button on the side once and you get the status screen, and that's where we've got the little backlight adjustment. This little bar we can slide up and down. So when I'm inside and I haven't got any natural sunlight shining on the screen, I find I do have it quite high, but on a lovely sunny day you might find you can actually put that down quite low, and that will help save battery. I'm inside at the minute and I haven't got any sunlight shining on the screen, so I'm just going to knock it up a little bit. So that's the backlight setting. So what will happen is after 30 seconds this unit will go dim, and then if I touch the screen it'll come back to full brightness. Now what we actually quite like with the unit is you can't just say I want the screen on all the time at full brightness if you're using it maybe for your walking and hiking where it's not being charged with the charging cable on a motorbike. But what you can then do is when you've got it on all the time, we can simply use the power button on the side of the unit to bring the screen back on. So this has went into a dim mode, but it's still on the screen, and if I tap on the screen it's full brightness again. But I'm just going to go back into the settings, into setup and into display. So I'm actually going to set it so it's on all of the time, but I don't want to leave it on all the time. But what we can actually do, and I'm just going to show you where you can check that your button setting hasn't been changed from the double tap of the power button to take the screen off. If I go back into setup, this time I go into system and it says power key, the third option down. And what you should see is default when you get your Garmin Montana 700 series, double tap of the power button is screen off. That can be changed by selecting here and just making sure you've got screen off selected. So what can happen now is if I leave the screen on all of the time, but basically what I'm going to do when I'm walking and hiking, look at what I need to look at, look further ahead on my route, whatever I'm doing, when I'm finished with the screen, rather than putting it away with the screen on all the time, which is really going to eat up the battery, the power button on the side of the unit, it's just 2 quick taps and the screen is now off. It won't accidentally come on if I tap the screen, and all I need to do to bring it back on is the power button on the side of the unit, a single tap, and the screen is now back on. Now when you're doing that double tap, it is quite a quick double tap. If I only tap it once, I'm going to get the status screen. So 2 taps, again I wasn't quick enough there, I'll just do it again, and there we go, 2 taps, screen's off. Really going to help save battery, and just a single tap and it's back on. So that will actually lock the screen, of course, as well. The other setting you may want to do if you don't want to use this setting and you still want the screen going off after, say, 30 seconds, I'm just going to go back into setup and back into display. So It could be 30 seconds, you may have it set as a minute. Just for speed, I'm actually going to set this as 15 seconds just for the video. So after 15 seconds, screen will go dim. But there's an option here called auto lock screen. So what that actually does, after the 15 seconds, we're going to see a padlock symbol appear at the bottom of the status bar. That means you can't accidentally then move things around on the map, but the screen will go into a dimmer backlight. So we'll just leave this 15 seconds. Now when it is locked, when the screen is locked, the map will still move with you. So I've now got a padlock icon in the bottom left. Screen's not going to come on. Now if the sun was shining on the screen, it will actually reflect back out and it won't be as dull as it looks when we're inside the building here. To simply unlock it, it's a single tap of the power button. Padlock symbol's now disappeared and it's unlocked. So that's another setting you may like to use if you do want the screen to stay on, go into that dim mode after 15 seconds, 30 seconds, which I'll just show you where that was again, in setup and display. So I had it set to go backlight after 15 seconds to go off, but we had auto lock screen on. The final one I'm going to show you is battery save. So if we turn battery save on, that means rather than you remembering to tap a button to turn it off, whatever backlight setting you've got, 15 seconds, 30, a minute or 2 minutes, obviously not the stay on wouldn't work with this. So as long as you've got it set as 15 seconds, 30, a minute or 2 minutes, what happens after that time has elapsed, because we got battery save on, the screen will actually go off and lock. A bit like when we were using the double tap of the button. Now it could be that you set it for a minute, so after a minute the screen automatically goes off, but rather than waiting for that minute, you can do the double tap and turn it off anyway. But I'll just show you after 15 seconds, what will happen is the screen will go off and it will be locked because we've turned on battery save mode, but it's still recording in the background. So we'll just give it 15 seconds. So whereas before it went dim, it's actually went off now. Can't accidentally turn it on if it was in a pouch, and I just simply tap the power button once. One of our favourite settings, I think, is really that as we've started using this device more and more, we're finding more and more, we go into display and we basically have it set to stay on. We make sure we adjust our brightness setting by either tapping the on-off button once or sliding down from the top. Depending on the light conditions outside, we have it quite low if it's a really sunny day, a little bit higher if it's a bit duller. But what we're remembering to do, because we've got it set so the screen stays on at full brightness or whatever backlight setting you've got all the time, when we're finished looking at the screen, we do the simple double tap of the power button to take it off. And when we want to look at the screen again, a single tap of the power button to bring it back on. So I hope you found this video useful on utilising some of the display settings on your Garmin Montana 700 series. Remember, if you have bought a GPS device from GPS Training, you do get our email support and telephone support and all of the online training videos included with your package, where we've got lots of more in-depth videos on using your unit. From the GPS Training website, gpstraining.co.uk, under GPS Store and support packages, you can purchase our online training course and email and telephone support as support packages if you haven't purchased your device from us. So we hope you found this video useful, and thanks for watching.